The woman claiming to be the real daughter of my family pointed her finger at my nose. "You imposter, get out of this house." My father smashed his glass on the spot, while my mother tearfully pushed me out the door. A minute later, a message popped up in the family group chat. My father, "Nice acting, I'll add £500 to your pocket money." My mother, "My poor darling, I've ordered you a beef Wellington takeaway. It'll be delivered to Uncle Walter's house." My brother, "At everyone, target person has moved into the master bedroom. 24/7 family surveillance activated in all rooms." Ding! Novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. The day Laura was brought into our home, I was in the living room munching on some chicken wings. She stood timidly before my parents, wearing a faded sundress, clutching a DNA test report in her hands. Tears began to fall from her eyes without warning. "Mr. and Mrs. Green, I'm your real daughter, Laura," she stammered. The chicken wing I was eating fell to the floor with a splat. A long-lost daughter, a family reunion. This soap opera-like drama was actually happening to me. My name is Vanessa Green, the fake heiress raised by the Green family for 20 years. I've known this fact since I was little. My parents never hid it from me. They told me I was legally adopted from an orphanage, that I was their only precious daughter. But now, that only would have to be preceded by a once. My mom, Claire Quincy, a woman so elegant she'd use a wine glass even for water, now covered her mouth, her body swaying as if about to collapse. The shock and pain in her eyes seemed genuine. My dad, Frank Green, the unquestioned head of our household, stood frozen, staring at the DNA report with trembling hands. Seeing their reactions, Laura cried even harder. "I know my appearance is sudden. I never meant to disrupt your family. I just wanted to meet my birth parents so badly." She turned her gaze towards me, her eyes full of scrutiny and hostility. "Vanessa, you've been living well all these years, haven't you?" Before I could recover from my shock, my mom had already rushed over and embraced Laura. "My daughter! My Laura! Mummy is so sorry for letting you suffer out there." My dad's eyes welled up too as he walked over and patted Laura's shoulder. His voice choked with emotion. "It's good that you're back. Welcome back." The three of them, hugging and crying, made for a touching scene. I stood there like an outsider, my hands and feet turning cold. It was all an act. Every bit of it. But I was the only audience member who had been kept in the dark. When Laura had cried enough, she lifted her head from Mum's embrace and looked at me with tear-filled eyes. Then she said to my parents, "Dad, Mum, I know Vanessa has lived here for 20 years. My return must be very upsetting for her. I should leave." What a delicate, innocent little flower she was playing. My mom immediately held her back. "You're not going anywhere. This is your home. No one can make you leave." Then she turned to me, her tone suddenly cold. That look in her eyes was one I had never seen in 20 years, so unfamiliar and icy. "Vanessa," she called my name coldly. "You are no longer the heiress of the Green family. Laura is. From now on, you need to know your place." My heart sank to the bottom. A smirk of triumph flashed across Laura's lips, gone in an instant, but I caught it. She walked up to me and said softly, with the air of a victor, "I look forward to your guidance, Vanessa." No, this couldn't be real. How could my mom, who would fuss over the tiniest scratch on my skin, and my dad, who would secretly slip me a reward for coming second in an exam, turn into this? Just as my world was crumbling around me, my brother, Jasper Green, came down from upstairs. He's my parents' biological son, born 2 years after me. A computer genius and the person I'm closest to in the family. "Jasper," I looked at him like he was my last hope. Jasper walked over expressionlessly, passing me by to stand in front of Laura. "So you're my sister?" He looked Laura up and down, his tone unreadable. Laura immediately put on her pitiful expression again. "Hello. I'm Laura." Jasper nodded, then said something that made me feel like I'd been plunged into ice water. "Oh, then Vanessa, you should give her your room. It belongs to her." He didn't look at me. He gave my room to Laura. That night, I was kicked out of the room I had lived in for 20 years. Laura became the new owner of that room. I was assigned to the smallest guest room on the third floor, which only had a bed and a small wardrobe. At dinner, the atmosphere at the dining table was even more bizarre. My mom kept serving food to Laura, fussing over her as if trying to make up for 20 years of motherly love. "Laura, dear, have some more of this. Look how thin you are. Laura, tomorrow Mom will take you shopping. We'll buy all the pretty clothes you've never worn before." My dad, too, had shed his usual sternness, speaking to Laura with kindness. "Laura, darling, Dad's got you a supplementary credit card. Buy whatever you want, don't be shy with Dad." As for me, I was like an invisible person, sitting in the corner, ignored by everyone. Jasper was even more distant, keeping his head down and eating without saying a word. I tasted what it meant to experience the cold shoulder of human relationships and the fickleness of the world. After dinner, I hid in my room, hugging my knees, unable to understand why my home had changed so drastically overnight. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Thinking it was the maid, I said hoarsely, "Come in." The door opened, and my dad, Mom, and brother Jasper filed in one after another. Then, my dad turned and locked the door. I looked at them warily. "What do you want?" My mom didn't speak. She took out a small device from her pocket and scanned around my room. With a beep, she discovered a pinhole camera in the base of the desk lamp. My pupils dilated in shock. My mom skillfully dismantled the camera, threw it into the toilet, and flushed it. After doing all this, she turned back. Her face, which had been cold as ice earlier, now full of concern. "My silly girl, were you scared?" She rushed over to hug me. My dad also sighed, ruffled my hair, his voice full of regret. "I'm sorry you had to go through this, sweetheart." My brother Jasper handed me a tablet, showing several surveillance feeds. One of them was clearly the master bedroom where Laura was now staying. I was completely baffled. What's going on? What else could it be?" My dad snorted, pulling out another document from his pocket and slamming it on the table. "Did you think we were fools? That Laura girl is a fake. Your mom and I never had another child." I picked up the document. It was a more detailed DNA comparison report. The conclusion was crystal clear: Laura had no blood relation to my parents. Then, earlier today, we were acting. My mom slapped her thigh, her face showing no trace of sadness, only calculation and excitement. This little minx dared to come to our green family with a fake identification report to swindle us. There must be someone behind her. If we didn't play along, how could we lure out the big fish behind her? My dad nodded in agreement. Exactly. So we decided to turn the tables on her and have the whole family play along. My brother Jasper added. I've already checked. The identification report she provided was from a small agency that went bankrupt long ago. The seal was even carved from a radish. Moreover, as soon as she entered, she installed bugs and cameras in your old room, obviously intending to monitor us. My brain went blank with a buzz. The twist came so fast, like a tornado. So, I wasn't abandoned. My family was acting along with a scammer. And I was the most important supporting actress in this grand play, tasked with playing the role of the bullied fake daughter. So, I looked at my mom. "When you were so harsh to me earlier, that was acting too?" "Of course," my mom said, as if seeking praise. "How was it? Don't you think your mom's acting skills deserve an Oscar?" "Me too," my dad chimed in, not to be outdone. "That welcome back," I said, "wasn't it full of deep emotion?" I almost believed it myself. My brother quietly raised his hand. I provided technical support. The next day, the real drama began. Laura woke up early, wearing my favorite dress, and sat elegantly in the dining room sipping her milk. When she saw me coming downstairs, she immediately put down her cup and flashed a challenging smile. "Vanessa, did you sleep well last night? Was the bed in the guest room a bit hard?" I took a deep breath, reminding myself that I was a professional actress. I lowered my head, my eyes rimmed with red, and said nothing. perfectly portraying a poor soul whose nest had been usurped. Laura was satisfied with my reaction. She stood up and walked in front of me, deliberately raising her voice so that my mom in the kitchen could hear. "Vanessa, I know you're not comfortable. But this isn't your home anymore, you need to learn to be independent. I heard Dad say that the company needs a receptionist. Why don't you give it a try? It's better than freeloading at home." Me, the future heir of Green Group, working as a company receptionist? I was so angry I almost broke character. Just then, my mom came out of the kitchen with breakfast, just in time to hear this. She slammed the plate on the table and launched into a tirade against me. "Laura's right. Vanessa, you're 20 now, you can't keep relying on the family. Look at yourself, how can you compare to our Laura? Laura's been through so much out there, she's much more sensible than you." Laura's face broke into a smug smile. I lowered my head, my shoulders trembling slightly, tears welling up in my eyes. I had acting skills too. This breakfast ended in this oppressive and turbulent atmosphere. In the afternoon, Laura suggested that we should go through my things in that room together and clear them out. Under the guise of cleaning, she actually wanted to throw away all my things and claim her territory. Of course, I couldn't let her get away with it. So, when she picked up my favorite limited edition plush toy and was about to throw it in the bin, I lost control of my emotions. "What are you doing?" I rushed over and snatched back my toy. "This is mine." "Yours?" Laura sneered. "Vanessa, get this straight, nothing in this house is yours now. You're just an adopted fraud." This sentence instantly ignited the war. We started grappling with each other. Of course, it was all an act. Our commotion quickly attracted my parents. Laura immediately let go, fell to the ground, and started crying with her face covered. "Dad, Mom, I didn't mean to. I was just trying to help Vanessa tidy up her things, and she hit me." My mom saw the non-existent red mark on her cheek and immediately flew into a rage. She pointed at my nose, trembling with anger. "Vanessa! You've disappointed me so much. How dare you lay hands on Laura?" My dad also played along, his face darkening as he delivered the final blow. "Get out! Get out of this house right now." I was pushed and shoved out of the house by my mom. Behind me was Laura's triumphant sobbing and my dad's angry roar. The door slammed shut behind me with a bang. I stood at the gate of our family mansion, dragging a small suitcase. The autumn wind blowing desolately. The performance was so convincing, I almost believed I had really been kicked out. A minute later, my phone vibrated. Messages kept popping up in the family group Acting Academy. My dad, Frank Green as the muddle-headed CEO. "Well acted, I'll add £500 to your pocket money." My mom, Claire Quincy as the wicked stepmother. "My poor baby girl, I've ordered you some beef Wellington takeaway. It'll be sent to your Uncle Walter's house." My brother, Jasper Green as the cold-hearted young brother. At everyone, target person has moved into the master bedroom. 24/7 family surveillance activated in the whole house. Me, Vanessa Green as the bullied fake heiress. Roger that. "Can I get an extra sausage with the cruise lunchbox?" My dad, "Of course." My mom, "Definitely." I dragged my suitcase, walking cheerfully towards the neighboring mansion, which belonged to Uncle Walter, my dad's old friend. That was my temporary crew accommodation. I settled in at Uncle Walter's house. Uncle Walter's family had been well prepared by my parents, and they treated me with more care than their own daughter. My daily life consisted of remote drama watching. Jasper had connected the home surveillance system directly to my computer. I could see Laura rummaging through my room, trying to find valuable items. I could see her acting sweet and innocent in front of my mom, coaxing her into buying one designer handbag after another. I could even see her attempting to seduce my brother, knocking on his door in sexy nightwear, only to be rebuffed with "If you have something to say, say it. Don't interrupt my coding" from him. I must say, this drama was more entertaining than any TV series. Every night, our family would hold a script discussion in our group chat, reviewing the day's plot and planning the next day's performance. "Tomorrow, I'll take her to meet my wealthy lady friends," my mom announced in the chat. I'll show her what real high society is like and make her feel out of place. At tomorrow's board meeting, I'll accidentally mention that I've found my biological daughter and plan to bring her into the company for training, my dad followed up. I want to see what her backer's next move will be. I've discovered she's been in frequent contact with someone. My brother shared, sending over a file. Kevin Carter, the heir to the Carter Group, also our family's arch-nemesis. Kevin Carter? That name rang a bell. The Carter family and our Green family had been business rivals for years, like oil and water. Why was Laura contacting him? Could it be? A thought flashed through my mind, she's working for the Carters? Very likely, my brother said. The Carter Group has been competing with us for that South City project recently. If a true versus fake heiress scandal were to break out in the Green family now, our stock prices would inevitably be affected. And if Laura, as the true heiress, were to form a marriage alliance with Kevin Carter, the consequences would be unthinkable. Pulling the rug out from under us, what a vicious plan. My dad fumed, slamming the table. Don't get worked up, my mom remained calm. Now that we know their intentions, we can play our parts even better. Vanessa, I have a task for you tomorrow. Kevin Carter will be attending a business cocktail party tomorrow. And Laura will surely be there. I'll accidentally bring you along. What you need to do is... As I read the plan my mom sent, my eyes grew brighter. This was getting more and more interesting. The next day at the business cocktail party, I was dressed in a waiter's uniform, carrying a tray and blending into the crowd. This was my mom's plan. To have me appear as someone kicked out of home, working menial jobs. To give Laura and Kevin a surprise. Soon, I spotted them in the crowd. Laura was wearing the designer gown my mom had just bought her. Arm in arm with a handsome, tall man, laughing exuberantly. That man was undoubtedly Kevin Carter. He was indeed very handsome, with sharp features and a noble air. But his eyes held a hint of detachment and coldness. He was surrounded by a group of people, chatting and smiling. But Laura beside him seemed like an eager-to-show-off face, somewhat out of place. My mom, along with a few wealthy ladies, happened to walk over. Oh, isn't this Laura? My mom feigned surprise. And who's this? Mom, Laura immediately called out affectionately. Then looked at Kevin coyly. This is my friend, Kevin Carter. Mr. Carter, I've heard so much about you, my mom smiled impeccably. Kevin merely nodded slightly, his gaze sweeping around as if searching for someone. Just then, Laura noticed me. Her eyes instantly lit up, as if she discovered some great amusement. She deliberately pulled Kevin towards me. Oh, isn't this my sister, Vanessa? She picked up a glass of champagne from my tray, her tone full of mockery. How come you're working as a waitress here? Were you kicked out of home with no money for food? All eyes around us turned to me. I lowered my head, fingers gripping the tray tightly, my body trembling slightly. Laura, I just wanted to earn some money on my own, I said softly. Earn money? Laura sneered, then directly poured that glass of champagne onto my uniform. Ah! I cried out in surprise. The cold liquid flowed down my chest, leaving me in a mess. Oh, I'm so sorry, Laura said with fake sincerity. My hand slipped. But don't worry, I'll pay for the cleaning of this outfit. Is £100 enough? As she spoke, she took out £100 note from her purse, trying to stuff it into my hand like she was giving alms to a beggar. Humiliation. Blatant humiliation. Just as I was about to meekly accept this money according to the script, a hand stopped Laura. It was Kevin. He frowned at Laura, his tone carrying a hint of displeasure. That's enough. Laura was stunned. Kevin ignored her and turned to look at me. His gaze was deep, making it impossible for me to discern his thoughts. He took out a handkerchief from his pocket and handed it to me. Here, wipe yourself, his voice was low. I was dumbfounded. This wasn't in the script. Wasn't the male lead supposed to side with the female lead? And humiliate me, the evil supporting character? How come he helped me instead? While I was still in shock, my mom had already rushed over, shielding me behind her and launching into a heartbroken and indignant tirade against Laura. Laura, how could you treat your sister like this? Even if she's not your biological sister, she's lived with us for 20 years. How could you bully her like this? Laura was stunned by the scolding, looking at Kevin with a pitiful expression. Kevin, however, just coldly observed the scene, then said to me, "Do you need any help?" I came to my senses, shook my head, took his handkerchief, and softly said, "Thank you." Then, I turned and fled in embarrassment under the sympathetic gazes of the onlookers. Running to the restroom, I immediately took out my phone. The Acting Academy group chat was already exploding. "Mom, what's going on? Why isn't that Kevin lad following the script? Dad, did he take a fancy to our daughter? Brother, I've looked into it, Kevin's reputation doesn't seem as bad as rumored." I looked at my disheveled reflection in the mirror. And at the expensive handkerchief in my hand, embroidered with the letters KC. What exactly was this Kevin up to? After that party, Kevin began to appear frequently in my life. When I was working at the cafe below Uncle Walter's house, he would happen to pass by, order a coffee, and then sit across from me, staying for an entire afternoon. When I went to the library to do research, he would coincidentally sit next to me, reading the same obscure economics book. I even ran into him once at the farmer's market while buying groceries. A billionaire heir to a corporate empire, carrying a shopping basket, discussing with me whether today's courgettes were fresh or not. The scene was surreal no matter how you looked at it. Meanwhile, Laura's attempts to undermine me intensified. She first anonymously reported health code violations at the cafe where I worked, causing it to close for renovations. Then she bribed one of my colleagues to steal an important proposal I had prepared, making me look foolish during a project meeting. Each time, under the remote guidance of my parents, I perfectly played the role of a damsel in distress who, despite being toyed with by fate, remained resilient. My misfortunes even garnered sympathy from many of my colleagues. And every time I was at my most vulnerable, Kevin would coincidentally appear. He would help clear up rumors about the cafe, discreetly hand me a backup copy of the proposal, and even treat the entire company to afternoon tea, conspicuously excluding those who had bullied me. His actions became increasingly puzzling to me. Laura was furious, arguing with Kevin several times, but he remained indifferent towards her. On this day, Kevin once again happened upon the cafe where I was working. I finally couldn't hold back anymore. "Mr. Carter," I said, placing the coffee in front of him and getting straight to the point. "What exactly are you trying to do?" He looked up at me, a playful smile tugging at his lips. "What am I trying to do? Can't you tell? I don't want to guess." "I'm pursuing you," he said frankly. I nearly choked on my own saliva. "Pursuing me?" I scoffed. "Mr. Carter, you must be joking. What could you possibly see in me, a fake heiress kicked out of her home?" "You're not fake," he said with certainty. My heart skipped a beat. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, trying to maintain my composure. "Vanessa, let's not beat around the bush." Kevin leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. "Laura is the fake one. You've known this all along, haven't you?" My heart leapt into my throat. How could he know? Seeing my shocked expression, Kevin smiled. "Your acting, and that of your family, is indeed very good. But unfortunately, you overlooked one person." "Who?" "Me," Kevin pointed to himself. "I was the earliest audience to this play. He told me that a month ago, Laura had approached him with that fake DNA test report, proposing a collaboration. She claimed to be the true Green heiress, and said that if Kevin helped her return to the Green family, she could act as an insider, assisting the Carter Group in defeating Green Group in the South City project. In return, she offered to marry Kevin, allowing the Carter family to legitimately absorb part of the Green family's assets. An ambitious woman, but not very bright, was Kevin's assessment of Laura. I suspected something was off right away, so I had someone investigate," Kevin said. "As it turns out, she is indeed a fraud. And what's more interesting is that I discovered your family seems to have known about this all along, and has been playing along with her." A cold sweat broke out on my back. "Then why didn't you expose us?" "Why should I? Kevin countered, "Isn't it fun to watch the show?" He paused, his gaze intense as he looked at me. "Especially when you're the female lead." My face flushed involuntarily. "So, you've been approaching me for cooperation." Kevin's expression turned serious, all traces of joking gone. "Vanessa, we have a common enemy, don't we?" The enemy he spoke of wasn't just Laura, but the person truly behind her, who wanted to bring down both our families. "Who?" "My uncle, Mike Carter." Kevin's eyes turned cold. "Laura is just a pawn he's put into play." Mike Carter, Kevin's uncle. This name had been mentioned several times by my father at home. He was the second in command of the Carter Group, always eyeing Kevin's father's position. Over the years, there had been constant internal struggles within the Carter Group, mostly due to his machinations behind the scenes. My uncle wants to use Laura as a pawn to bring down the Green family. And at the same time, bring me down. Kevin's voice was cold. If the Green family falls, our faction, which has deep cooperation with them, will also be severely weakened. Then, he can smear me with the dirt of collaborating with the fake heiress, and conveniently kick me out of the heir's position. What a poisonous plan to kill two birds with one stone. Both our families had become pawns on his chessboard. "So, I need your help." Kevin looked at me. "We need to join forces to make this play more convincing and draw the snake out of its hole." I didn't agree immediately. I needed to discuss this with my production team. That evening, I relayed my conversation with Kevin in our family group chat. The chat was silent for a full 5 minutes. My dad, "This lad, not bad at all." My mom, "I told you he fancies our daughter." Isn't this the classic plot of a hero saving the damsel in distress, then joining forces, and finally ending in a happy marriage? That's how all the dramas I watch play out. My brother. The intelligence he provided is valuable. Mike Carter is indeed the most likely mastermind. I've traced a large sum of money that recently flowed into Laura's account, sourced from one of Mike's offshore shell companies. So, do we need to revise the script? My dad, "Revise. We must revise. Add the male lead in." Thus, after joint deliberation between both production teams, our script was upgraded to version 2.0. Kevin and I began to perform a CEO Falls for the Fallen Heiress act in public. He would drive his sports car to pick me up after work at the cafe where I worked, present me with roses in front of everyone, and take me to the most upscale restaurants for dinner. And I played the role of a girl gradually losing herself, intoxicated by love. News of our romance quickly spread throughout the entire social circle. Laura's face turned green with anger. She confronted me several times, demanding to know why I was stealing her man. I just looked at her with a pitying gaze. "Laura, you can't force matters of the heart. Kevin loves me. You." She trembled with rage. "Vanessa Green, don't get cocky. You're nothing but a fraud. Do you really think Kevin truly loves you? He's just playing with you. When he gets bored, you'll be nothing." In my heart, I silently replied, "Sorry, but our two families are about to form a powerful alliance through our marriage, propelling us to the pinnacle of success." Of course, on the surface, I maintained that hurt expression of someone whose sore spot had been touched. Our performance was a great success. Laura took the bait. She began to contact Mike more frantically, urging him to proceed with the next step of the plan. And Mike finally couldn't sit still. He thought Kevin had truly fallen head over heels for me, this fake heiress, and was willing to go against his family for me. He saw this as the perfect opportunity to bring Kevin down. At the annual shareholders meeting of Green Group, on this day, both Mike and Laura were present. Mike attended as an important business partner. As for Laura, she was specially permitted to attend as the true heiress of the Green family. Halfway through the meeting, Mike suddenly launched an attack. He stood up, with a pained expression, and said, "Mr. Green, there's something I'm not sure whether I should say or not. It concerns the reputation of Green Group, and I believe all shareholders present have the right to know." My father slightly raised his eyelids and said calmly, "Mr. Carter, please feel free to speak your mind." "Very well." Mike put on a righteous air. As far as I know, the young lady beside you, Miss Vanessa, whom you've been grooming as your heir, is not your biological daughter. Your true heiress is actually this young lady, Miss Laura." As soon as he finished speaking, the whole room was in an uproar. All the shareholders started whispering and discussing among themselves. Laura stood up, cooperatively squeezing out a few tears. "I am the true daughter of the Green family, Laura Green." Mike continued, "What pains me even more is that my nephew, Kevin, has been so bewitched by this imposter that he's even willing to harm the interests of our Carter group for her sake. Today, I want to expose this woman's true face in front of everyone." As he spoke, he threw a stack of photos onto the conference table. The photos were all of intimate scenes between Kevin and me. "Look at this, everyone. This woman is not only usurping the Green family's fortune, but also seducing the heir of our Carter family. Such a fickle woman doesn't deserve to stay in Green Group." He spoke with righteous indignation, as if he were the embodiment of justice. The shareholders' looks towards me changed. A victorious smile appeared on Laura's face. She thought she had won. My father, watching this farce, didn't seem angry at all. He cleared his throat, looked at Mike, and asked leisurely, "Are you finished?" Mike was taken aback. "Mr. Green, what do you mean?" "I mean exactly what I said." My father leaned back in his chair, calm and composed. "Is your one-man show over? If it is, then it's our turn." As he spoke, he snapped his fingers. The large screen in the conference room suddenly lit up. A video started playing on the screen. It showed Laura installing a hidden camera in my room when she first came to our house. Next came an audio recording of her conversation with my brother. "Jasper, help me out. Once I become the owner of the Green family, I promise I'll take good care of you." Then, there was a recording of her phone call with Mike. "Mike, the plan is going smoothly. Those fools in the Green family have all been deceived. That Vanessa has even hooked up with Kevin. You must help me get Kevin back. One piece of evidence after another, irrefutable." Mike and Laura's faces instantly turned pale. "No, this isn't true. It's fabricated." Laura screamed hysterically. "Fabricated?" Jasper walked out from behind, carrying a laptop. "Mr. Carter, Miss Laura, do you need me to publish your call records, bank transfer details, and the IP addresses of the overseas servers you used for communication?" Mike's legs gave way. He collapsed into his chair, his face ashen. All the shareholders were stunned. Kevin stood up, walked to my side, and held my hand. He looked at Mike coldly and said, "Uncle, you've lost." My mother elegantly stood up. She walked in front of Laura, looking down at her, her red lips parting slightly. "Why the act? The whole family knows you're not biological. But there's one thing you probably don't know." My mother paused. "Our family never had a so-called true heiress to begin with." "What do you mean there's no real heiress?" Laura froze. She looked up at my mother in disbelief. What did you say?" I said. My mother enunciated each word clearly, her voice resonating throughout the entire conference room. "That year, I did give birth to a daughter. But she passed away shortly after birth due to a congenital heart defect. This secret was unknown even to me." My father stood up, walked to my mother's side, and held her hand, his eyes full of sympathy. "It was the most painful time of our lives," my mother said, looking at me with eyes so tender they could melt. "It took us a long time to overcome that shadow. Later, we met you at the orphanage. You were only 3 months old then, tiny, and always smiling. The moment we saw you, we decided to adopt you, to raise you as our own child, and to love you wholeheartedly. So, Vanessa," my father looked at me, his voice unwavering, "you're not a replacement for anyone. You are you, the one and only daughter of the Green family." I could no longer hold back my tears, they streamed down my face. So that's how it was. I wasn't some fake heiress. This was my home. My parents were my real parents. At that moment, blood ties seemed so insignificant. The conference room fell into silence. Laura completely broke down, collapsing to the floor, muttering, "It's not possible, it's not possible." Mike was also rendered speechless. The police arrived shortly after, taking Mike and Laura into custody on suspicion of commercial fraud and defamation. After the shareholders' meeting, our family and Kevin returned home. Uncle Walter also came. He's my dad's best frenemy and the logistics director of our grand performance. My mom personally cooked a table full of dishes. My dad raised his glass, looking at me with deep emotion. Vanessa, you've been through a lot these days. I shook my head, smiling. It wasn't bad. It was quite fun, actually. See, I told you. My mom immediately got excited. I said my acting was good. Especially the scene where I kicked you out of the house. My heartbroken expression was spot on. My brother quietly commented from the side. Mom, you almost broke character and laughed. Nonsense. That was laughter born from extreme sorrow. Our family returned to our usual cheerful banter. Uncle Walter looked at us and said with a smile, Frank, this script of yours could be made into a TV series. It'd be a hit for sure. Absolutely. My dad said proudly. After the commotion died down, Kevin passed me a piece of sweet and sour pork, my favorite. He looked at me, his eyes gentle. From now on, no one will dare to bully you again. My mom immediately seized the opportunity to play matchmaker. Kevin, our Vanessa isn't getting any younger. Isn't it time you two made things official? My dad nodded in agreement. Sounds good to me. We should set a date for both families to meet and settle things. Kevin smiled. He looked at me, his gaze full of anticipation. My face turned bright red in an instant. Dad! Mom! I stomped my foot in embarrassment. I have a dad who spoils me rotten, a dramatic mom who loves me dearly, and a genius brother who's tough on the outside but soft on the inside. Now it seems I'm about to have a boyfriend who's both cunning and deeply affectionate. The setting sun outside shone through the window, bathing the entire living room in a warm golden glow. We are a family. Does it really matter whether we're related by blood? Love is the strongest, most unbreakable bond in this world.